Hey everyone, thanks for dropping by the channel today. We've got a different episode. We're going to be talking about tips for travel photography. I just got back from Maine. That's why I've been kind of absent from the channel, because of the fact that I've been working. I got to take a group from St. Louis, the PhotoPros St. Louis Photography School. They had a great group of people. We got some great shots up and down from all the way from Acadia all the way down to Kittery. And then I took another group out about 2 weeks ago now, a week ago now, and we had another great time, but we didn't go as far. We went all the way up to Owl's Head, or no, we got all the way up to Camden. Camden to Kittery. It was a great trip. Along the way, I was able to look at how people made photographs, and I discovered really that it's really got a lot to do with travel photography and how people approach different things. So being a photojournalist by trade, I do things a little bit differently, and I'm going to give you some of that knowledge that I take with me every time I go doing travel photography. When I travel, I tend to look for things a little bit differently, and maybe those will help you out. First tip is all about paying attention to how the scene is coming together. Is it a static scene, or are there moving parts that are coming into it? And I've got some great examples from scenes working together and parts coming together outside the frame. You have to be aware of something coming along that might add to the image, and I'm going to give you some of those examples right now. In this image here of Portland Head Light, I waited quite a while for this lobster boat to make its way into the frame, and I got to tell you, it makes this picture. In this image from Bailey Island, I was photographing the Cribstone Bridge, and I heard this motorboat coming, and I wasn't sure which direction it was coming from, so I got up onto the road and see where it was coming from, and indeed he was going to be going underneath the Cribstone Bridge, and I was quite excited when I got this picture of him coming through the bridge. It really makes the image. So in this image here from Bailey Island, I wanted to make sure that I got a photograph of the schooner Alert here with all the lobster traps and the little red building and everything. I made that shot, and then I saw this lobster boat coming, and I said, oh boy, this is really going to make this image, and I believe it does. So when you photograph whaleback light off of Portsmouth Harbor, you really have to get something in the image with it. Now, last year I got a picture of a guy trying to pull his jib down on a sailboat as he was going by. This year there weren't any sailboats, but we had a lot of lobster boats and fishermen and stuff, and these two boats coming in from fishing really made the image. And the second tip is all about having patience. Now, when you're on the water, the wind, if we got a slight breeze blowing, it's going to move boats around. And what I did was I waited for this one particular lobster boat in a couple of different instances to move around until it really made the image work the way I wanted it to. So here's that right now. So this tip is all about patience and waiting for things to happen so that they make the image look better. And here, as you can see, the wind was right in the nose of this lobster boat, and then it slowly started to pull the lobster boat around until it got to the point where I felt like it was a good image. And this image here is really kind of what I was looking for. It was low tide and everything, but the wind pulled around and moved it right into the right spot. Then I moved again and got a different shot. Now this shot here has three main elements: the lobster boat, the house on stilts, and the cottage over there on the left. And this really pulled together for me because the wind was in the right place, and it moved the boat so that it was just really abroad of me, and I felt like it added to it, and I moved in the right spot to get this image. This shot here, the wind moved the dinghy into the frame, which was kind of interesting. I'm not sure which one I like. Tip number 3 is all about people. When you're doing travel photography, I think it's really important to look and see what people are doing. Use a long lens if you don't feel comfortable approaching people, but you can really get some interesting images of people doing things, what they do every day, and I've got some examples here for you to look at. Now, all these shots were made with the Fuji XF70-300. This young lady here was taking tickets in the shade, and she was kind of cold and all bundled up. Now, this couple here was busy investigating the windjammers in Camden Harbor, and I really loved the way the lines and the sails were all hanging over them. And then this next shot, I waited quite a while for these people in these kayaks to start paddling underneath the Angelique and the other windjammers in Camden Harbor. These two guys here were busy getting all their traps off the flatbed and getting them ready to put in the water. And then this next shot is all about the first class of kayaking season. And you can tell that they were having trouble with their paddles, and the instructor was having quite a time getting them organized. Tip number 4 is all about paying attention to detail. There's a lot of very interesting details that go into whatever place you're visiting. Now, I've got one that I really like from Port Clyde, and I'm going to show you that right now. But that's, to me, that's the essence of a place. Place that you're visiting are the details that you find. This shot is one of my absolute favorites from the second trip, and it was done with the Leica MP240 and the 28mm lens. And we were able to get inside the famous fishing shack at Port Clyde, which was great. Now this shot is of the bow of the Angelique and I believe another windjammer out in front of the American Boathouse in Camden Harbor. So shot with a 70-300. The shot here was also shot with a 70-300, and it's a beautiful rowing dory that I really enjoyed the reflection and the bright work on it. This shot here is from Pemaquid, and I've shown this image before, but I did it again just a little bit differently, and it's really all about the detail here. Now, tip number 5 is don't let bad weather scare you off from making photographs, because I've got to tell you, and I'll show you some examples here, the coast of Maine can be kind of interesting at times, and we had some bad weather here and there, and believe it or not, we got some great images out of it. Now, this shot is from the top of Cadillac Mountain. We went up there for sunset, and it was cloudy all day. It was just awful, and we got up there, and the light just started to come through, which was just plain awesome. So you know what it's like when you have a foggy morning in Maine? It sticks around for a long time, and we headed over to New Harbor, and boy, the light was great, and the fog had just settled in a little bit. It was an absolutely beautiful morning, and I got some great shots with the fog. So one of our last days in Maine, we really wanted to get a really nice sunset, and we had clouds in and out all day, and we weren't really sure what we were going to get. But we waited around for sunset, and we were rewarded with some beautiful clouds and a beautiful sunset. This shot here is from Bailey Island, Maine. What a gorgeous place it is. Mornings in June are very early. We had to get up very early to head up to Pemaquid, Maine, and it was cloudy and a little bit of rain. It was really, really lousy. But you know what? We stuck it out, went up to Pemaquid, and we got some really nice shots. It was nice and still. I would have liked it a little bit stiller for the reflection in the water here, but the sun started to break through a little bit, so I got a little bit of blue in the sky, but the colors are beautiful. So that's it for this week. Thanks for joining me on my little travel journey through Maine and some of the tips along the way for making your travel photography that much better. And if you wouldn't mind, if you like this video, please give it a like, maybe even make a comment about some of your travel tips that you have, and subscribe to the channel. That would be even better. So that's it for this week. And remember, it's not what you photograph, it's how you photograph it. And we'll catch you next time.